Welcome back. So we learned how to get all the books, how to get a specific book by ID, how to create a book. Now let's learn how to update an existing book. Looking back at our data structure here in book.js, let's say I want to change the title of Don Quixote book to something else. Now we need a way to first get this guy, then we change the title, then we update this guy. Now, for the route itself, it's going to be a put slash book slash the book ID. So we give the book ID as a route parameter so we can first find what book we want to update. And then for the put request, we're going to give it a request body with the actual title we want to modify. From Don Quixote, let's say, I don't know, Mr. Quixote. Let's change the title to that. So we're going to have a body in the request. We're going to have a request parameter. So to get these guys, remember, we use rec.body for the request body and rec.params for the request, the route parameter. Okay, it's going to be a put verb. So let's get started. After post, we're going to use app dot, you guessed it, put slash book slash book ID with a colon prefix. The usual rec and rest parameters for the function right here. And then, so we need a method in the book module to update the book, right? So let's first do that. Going back to the book module. We have to do this because we don't have an ORM nor a database setup, so we're faking it with this module, okay? Now, let's create a new one here, update. It's gonna be somewhat similar to what we did in create and find one combine kind of. Anyway, so update needs, first you need the ID of the book to update. So let's give an ID, and then we need the actual new properties for the book. So let's just call it book. Now, first you want to find the book. So we're going to use the same logic right here. So existing book is going to be books.find. Book is the parameter, where the book ID is going to be the ID passed as an argument. Let enable soft wrap so you can see. Now we have that, or we don't have it, because what if the book doesn't exist? Oh well, if it does not exist, we should definitely return null or something. Anyway, but if it does exist, we are going to go here. After we find the guy, we need to update the title. So if it's just one property, you can just make a very easy, for example, you're going to create the updated book. It's just the existing book, an object whose ID is the existing book ID, but the title is going to be what? This argument book.title, because it's the new title. That's one way, but if you have so many properties, what are you going to do? Type one by one? Yeah, you could do that. There's another way if you want to include all the properties from the book into the existing one in a new object. And you can do like that as so. Just do a 3 dots, existing book, then you say whatever from the book here. So what this is doing is it copies all the properties from the existing book, then copies all the properties from book, and if book does happen to have the same properties already defined here previously, it's going to overwrite them. okay? Anyway, with that, we can just return. Oops, we cannot because we need to actually update our fake database. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the map method of the array type, because if you look at it, an update is actually just you're gonna go and find the one you want to update, just change one thing. The length of the array is gonna stay the same. So we're gonna map through this guy. If it's not the book we want to update, we don't do anything, just return the object as is. Otherwise, if this is the book we want to update, we return a new object to this list with this title replaced, okay? So let's do it. So let's get to books.map and let's do something here. So if the book.id is the same as the ID we want to change, right? We're going to return that updated book. Now, if it is not, we just return the book itself unchanged. So this mapping is going through each book in the list. If the book ID matches the ID of the book we want to update, we return updated book. That means the map is going to include in the new array the updated book. Otherwise, it's going to include the book as is without any changes. Mind you that the map function, it creates a whole new list, so we have to reassign it to books like so, because this is not going to mutate the original books, okay? Now after we do that, we finally update the list and we can return the updated book to the client who called it, because maybe we want to return the updated book back to the client, okay? So let's save this, go back to our route. Now how are we going to do this? We're going to do book.update. What's the ID of the book we want to update? The ID comes from the request parameter. So we can say rec.what? Params dot book ID. But remember, this is a string because it's in params. So we need to parse it into an integer. Otherwise, this strict equality right here is not going to work, because we have an actual number versus a string if we don't parse it. So let's remove this guy. Extract it and make a variable book ID parse int. Parse it as an integer. Always put the 10 there just to make sure it's a base 10. And then we have the ID, just use it in update. And finally, we need to pass it the updated properties. Okay, so you could just take all of them if you want, or you can filter out the unwanted ones. I'll leave it to you to filter out as an exercise. So I'm just going to include a request.body like so, and then this is going to update our fake database, hard-coded data, and then we just return this guy back to, actually we send the response, right? Send this guy back to the user so the client gets a copy of the updated book. Okay, let's test it out. So we have 3 books again. Notice there's no more 4 and 5 because we restarted the server. Our hard-coded data is in memory and will be wiped out and reset to its original state every time we restart the server. So we got these guys going. Let's change the name of Don Quixote to something else. So let me change the verb here to, actually let me go to another tab so we can reuse the other one. We got to use put http localhost /books/2. 2 is the Don Quixote books ID. We need a body, remember. Let's use raw, not text, but JSON, application/JSON. We want to change the title of the book to Mr. Quixote, for example. Now let's try it. Did we get any response? Yes, we did. It's just down here. I would like to drag it up so you can see better. So this is our request. body. This is our response body. So we got the title now changed to Mr. Quixote. To confirm that our database, our fake database is actually changed, we have to do a get/books to see that the index, the second element is Mr. has now title Mr. Quixote, and all the other records are unchanged. Okay, so that's a 200. Okay, everything went well. So let's just review what we did in this lesson. We learned how to use the HTTP app.put to make a put request to update a book. The endpoint is /books/:book ID. Book ID comes from the request parameters, which is always a string, so you need to parse it into an actual number to make sure things match correctly inside our fake database search. Then after we pass it to our fake database to update the book using the ID and the rec body with the updated properties, we send it back to the user with the 200 OK. All right. Now, what if it doesn't exist? Oh, that's something we didn't talk about, right? Let's go back here to our Postman and try to update a book that does not exist, like book number 4. Right now it does not exist. We are getting 200 OK. That's not good. We should get at least a 404, right? So we got no here. So let's get back to our route. So this guy actually could be null. So we should extract this guy into updated book. It's going to be equal that. Then if there is no updated book, if that is null, right? We are just going to return right away with a response. Send what? Remember the status code? Let's put a status of 404 beforehand. So we're going to send a response with the status 404. And we're going to send a message saying that the book you want to update does not exist. How about that? Okay, so that's our error kind of handling here. So let's try again. Oh, actually I forgot to place the updated book right here. Let's go to Postman. So we'll restart the service so it don't change that. But we don't care anymore anyway. So we're gonna do a put on book/4, which does not exist, and now we get 404 not found. The book you want to update does not exist. Okay? So just wanted to finish with that, doing the 404 if the actual book you're trying to update does not exist. So I'll see you in the next lesson.